Let us discuss the echocardiographic assessment of the aortic valve. The aortic valve can be assessed echocardiographically either by a transthoracic echocardiogram or a transesophageal echocardiogram. Although the transesophageal echocardiogram provides excellent images of the aortic valve, including the resultant hemodynamic abnormalities, what is most commonly used for the assessment of aortic regurgitation is a transthoracic echocardiogram. Now, the assessment of aortic regurgitation does not include only the assessment of the hemodynamic significance of the lesion. It also includes the assessment of the nature of the valve as well as the effects on the left ventricle. So, as we know, the aortic valve has got the right coronary cusp, non-coronary cusp, and the left coronary cusp. On a parasternal long axis view, what we see is the right coronary cusp and the non-coronary cusp, as demonstrated on the picture on the left. And what we see on a parasternal short axis view is the right, left, and the non-coronary cusp. A detailed assessment of the morphology of the aortic valve is important for the assessment of the degree of aortic regurgitation. Now, aortic regurgitation can either be a valvular problem or it could be a root problem. What is more common now is aortic root problem. Valvular causes include bicuspid aortic valve, endocarditis, and rheumatic valve disease, whereas disorders of the aortic root include dilated aortic root, hypertension, cystic medial necrosis, Marfan syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and importantly, aortic dissection. Of these two entities, endocarditis and aortic dissection commonly result in acute aortic regurgitation, whereas other causes like bicuspid aortic valve, rheumatic or sclerodegenerative aortic valve commonly result in chronic aortic regurgitation. As we can see over here, aortic valve morphologies can be quite varied. As seen in A, this is a normal tricuspid aortic valve. In B is a bicuspid aortic valve. C is basically a rheumatic aortic valve, where we see a combination of aortic stenosis with aortic regurgitation because of the fusion of the cusps. And in D, we see a sclerodegenerative aortic valve, where there is basically fibrocalcific degeneration of the aortic valve leaflets. The assessment of the severity of AR includes the assessment of the aortic valve and the aortic root, the effects on the left ventricle, particularly left ventricular enlargement, then the assessment of AR in the form of color Doppler imaging, assessment of the jet with vena contracta, the pressure half time, quantitative assessment including regurgitant volume, regurgitant fraction, and assessment of flow reversal in the aorta. Now, as we can see in the picture on the left, the aortic regurgitation is because of vegetation on the aortic valve, whereas in the figure on the right, it is because of a dissection flap which is visualized in the ascending aorta. So, we critically need to assess the cause of aortic regurgitation, whether it is a degenerative aortic valve, it's a rheumatic valve, if there is an infective endocarditis or dissection of the ascending aorta. Again, as seen in the picture on the left, there is a dilated aorta with a dissection flap visualized in the proximal ascending aorta, and this results in severe aortic regurgitation. As discussed, dissection and endocarditis commonly result in acute aortic regurgitation, and patients usually present with pulmonary edema and heart failure. Aortic valve prolapse can be assessed on transthoracic as well as transesophageal echocardiogram and is best seen in the parasternal long axis view. Also, as I mentioned, the assessment of LV dimensions are crucial because chronic aortic regurgitation is usually associated with dilated left ventricle. In fact, a left ventricular end systolic dimension of more than 50 millimeter is one of the criteria for sending patients for surgery, even if they are asymptomatic when they have severe AR. The Doppler assessment of aortic regurgitation includes color Doppler, continuous wave Doppler, pulse wave Doppler, and flow reversal in descending aorta. Pulse wave Doppler of aortic regurgitation is not very helpful. What is helpful is continuous wave Doppler. Also, color Doppler is extremely important. If the AR jet width by LVOT diameter is more than 65%, as seen below in the picture on the left, that is suggestive of severe AR. Also, if you see on the continuous wave Doppler that there is a steep pressure decline between the aorta and the left ventricle, that is suggestive of severe aortic regurgitation. So, as we see over here in the figure above, the slope is shallow, whereas in the picture below, the slope is extremely steep. This steep slope indicates rapid equilibration of the pressure between the left ventricle and the aorta and indicates severe aortic regurgitation. Similarly, on color flow imaging, aortic regurgitation can be assessed by assessing the most proximal area of the AR jet. This is known as the vena contracta. And this vena contracta is best assessed on external long axis view, especially when the image is zoomed. So VC represents vena contracta, and when this jet spreads out, it will give rise to the flow convergence and jet width. So on a parasternal long axis view, we assess the area of the vena, we assess the dimension of the vena contracta, and if it is more than 6 millimeter, that is suggestive of severe AR. Now, aortic regurgitation, the criteria for severe aortic regurgitation are if the vena contracta width is more than 6 millimeter, if AR jet height by LVOT diameter is more than 65%, pressure half time is less than 200 milliseconds, and if there is prominent holodiastolic flow reversal in descending aorta, and especially if the LV is enlarged. If 4 of these criteria are met, we can label this as severe AR. The criteria for mild AR include vena contracta less than 3 millimeter, jet width less than 25% of LVOT, no holodiastolic flow reversal, and normal LV size. If 4 of these criteria are met, we can say that this patient has mild AR. For patients who come between the two, they are labeled as moderate AR, and in patients with moderate AR, we usually go for quantitative assessment of aortic regurgitation. This quantitative assessment of aortic regurgitation includes calculation of regurgitant volume and regurgitant fraction. Basically, regurgitant volume is calculated as left ventricular stroke volume minus either right ventricular stroke volume or flow across the mitral valve. This is calculated using the continuity equation. We calculate the RVOT stroke volume as demonstrated on the left, 58 ml, and LVOT stroke volume. LVOT minus RVOT stroke volume gives us the regurgitant volume, and regurgitant volume divided by the stroke volume gives us the regurgitant fraction. Also, as seen in this figure, the cardiac output can be calculated either across the mitral valve or the right ventricular outflow tract. And when you subtract LVOT minus either the RVOT or flow across the mitral valve, we are going to get the regurgitant fraction. You divide this by the LVOT stroke volume and we get the regurgitant fraction. Also, we can perform an internal check of the volumes. We can calculate the stroke volume by using the Simpson's method of discs, calculate the end diastolic volume and subtract the end systolic volume, and we get the left ventricular stroke volume. So we can perform an internal check of the volumes using the Simpson's method. The most reliable indicators of severity are vena contracta, regurgitant flow, regurgitant fraction, and flow reversal in the aorta. Also, we always should look at the left ventricular size. The less reliable indicators of severity include jet width by LVOT diameter and area of the jet in the short axis. So most reliable are vena contracta, flow reversal, and quantitative measures of AR. So we know the classification. Stage A is at risk of AR, stage B is moderate, mild or moderate MR, that is progressive AR. Stage C is asymptomatic severe AR, and stage D is symptomatic severe AR. The symptomatic severe AR is when the patient is symptomatic and Doppler jet is more than 65% of LVOT diameter, vena contracta more than 6 millimeter, holodiastolic flow reversal is present in the proximal abdominal aorta, regurgitant volume more than 60 ml, regurgitant fraction more than 50%, or effective regurgitant orifice area of more than 0.3 centimeter. This ERO is calculated by the PISA method and is not commonly used for assessment of AR. So, coming to the conclusion, severe AR is when angiographic grade is 3 to 4 plus, the jet width is more than 65% LVOT diameter, vena contracta is more than 6 millimeter, and regurgitant volume is more than 60 ml, and the fraction is more than 50%. So, assessment of AR includes qualitative assessment of the valve and quantitative assessment of aortic regurgitation, and always remember to calculate the left ventricular dimensions and assess the aortic root.